All right, Shalom, Mike. It's a high spirit wind law of the GMS Mississippi camp, giving all honor and glory to the heavenly honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone Root Well, as well as peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. All right, and today I want to go into a topic. It's built off a quote. It's based off a quote by Nina Simone. It said that the people that built their heaven on your land told you that your heaven is in the sky. All right, the people that built their heaven on your land told you that your heaven is in the sky. And I might be roughly paraphrasing, but that's a quote by Nina Simone. Now, granted, there's actually heaven in the spirit world. It's not really it's not in the sky. It's in the spirit world. But I'm using this to go into a scripture. It says in Revelation, rejoice ye heavens and ye earth. No, I'm sorry. Scripture in Revelation, what's that, 21? Where it says, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. All right? Because that new heaven, all right, is really a new kingdom in the planet Earth, a new system, a new habitation, a new management on the planet Earth. You see? So, although Nina Simone was wrong in the sense that there is a heaven, all right, in the spirit world, but she made a good point within that quote that Esau did build his heaven on Gad's land. This is Gad and Reuben's land. He really built his heaven, all right? Any place that he colonized, that's his heaven, all right? Because you got three heavens. You got the spiritual world heaven. You have the firmament, all right? All right, that heaven, all right? And then you have a habitation, a particular kingdom within someone's planet, within this planet. It's a lot. Okay. Rejoice ye heavens. Okay. So Esau's rulership, that's his heaven. All right, but also within his rulership is our hell. Because if you go to most cities, right, a perfect example is gentrification. He's building his heaven within your hell. You know, your hell is the ghettos. It's the slums. But a lot of they work in Esau's heaven. So you go to the suburbs, right, and there's these restaurants. And no matter how exclusive and far out these restaurants are, it's Jake in the kitchen. Usually it's Jake in the kitchen, man. It's Issachar, Northern Kingdom, and it's Jake, Southern Kingdom. Right? Even if it's a fucking Moabite restaurant, or even an Elam restaurant, okay? What's this cook name that was put to death? But it was alleged that he committed suicide. I used to love his show. Anthony Bourdain. He said, if you like Italian food, if you like, he was naming different nationalities. It was like, or different cultures. It's like, if you like Italian food, if you like Korean food, if you like Chinese, he was like, really, you like Mexican food because that's mainly who's in the kitchen. But you're in their heaven, right? You're the stranger, brother. Hey, shalom, bro. The stranger that is within thee will get above thee very high. I get it. Woo! That's a heaven. You know, but you have Jake to live in these big cities that, are really something to look at, like Chicago, New Orleans. But Jake, they live in that same city and have never been to the main attractions into that city, man. Jake will be stuck in O Block, you know. Jake will be stuck in South Memphis somewhere, you know. Jake will be stuck in a Ninth Ward or something, you see. And they've never been, man, it's something called, it's a place in Jackson, Mississippi, called the Fundra area. And it's a little spot in downtown Jackson, right? They got nice little eateries and stuff. And when I grew up, I didn't know about a Fundra area, you know? And it's spots that brothers have gone to in Mississippi, all right, by way of their jobs, certain neighborhoods that their job has sent them to, their gigs has sent them to. And it's like, man, I've been in this state all my life. I didn't even know this side of town existed. You know? That's a fucking heaven. You know? These little neighborhoods by these colleges. And it's like, damn, the grass is greener on the other side. The sun is brighter in this motherfucker too. Man, there's a video, I think it was on Facebook, but it might be on YouTube. It was an Edomite walking a llama in a Memphis neighborhood. And the llama was trained like, nigga was trained like he stopped when the owner stopped and shit, because somebody asked him like, what is that he was walking? Like, this man was walking a llama in a neighborhood in Memphis. But you understand that Memphis, that's the ghetto. That's a ghetto city. But not the part of Memphis he was in. Shit. You know? No matter how run down the city is, Esau was in his heaven in that city. Like I said, I was doing some delivery work. And I went through this certain neighborhood. And you actually have to go through security as though you're in an apartment complex. But you got to go through a security and they got to ask you a couple of questions. You can't just drop off the food or your delivery item to that house. Nah, they got to ask you some questions. You got to send some verification that you're a delivery driver. You know? I want to know where you from. I want to know your mammy stay, your grandma. You know, I'm being just being facetious, but nah, man, Esau was in this freaking heaven. Esau built this heaven on your land. That's why Esau, he hit you with the good morning. It's like, nigga, why are you so happy? Like, you're in your heaven. You ain't gotta work paycheck to paycheck and work over and do all this stuff just to make sure your kid's straight, man. You got it made. Most Edomites were born with some type of inheritance, man. And the scripture says, cursed be you when you come in and cursed be you when you go out. Man, our children were born with struggling parents, man. Most of us was born to struggling parents, man. And some of us weren't, but a lot of us were. Story with Tupac, it's a story at least. He was born in prison, you know. His mama gave birth to him when she was locked up. But nigga, we was born in prison. I'm not calling brothers nigga, but we was born in prison. It tells you if Isaiah 42 will be hid in prison houses. But he was born in the hood. He was born in prison. He was born in the ghetto. About a month ago, I rode past a neighborhood that looked like the neighborhood that I was really born in. I didn't grow up there, but I was born on that side of town in that particular neighborhood. There was a duplex area. Now that I'm a grown man that's in this truth, I understand. Look, that was a fucking prison. That was a fucking prison. That was a fucking prison. It was a concentration camp, man. It was a concentration camp, man. You know? But I also remember my mom driving through the nicer parts of town and nicer neighborhoods, because that would inspire you to want to better yourself. You know, like that was their heaven, man. That was their heaven. Esau built this heaven on your land. And he did tell you your heaven was in the sky. You know, and although your heaven is in the spirit, everybody's heaven is in it. Everybody goes to the spirit world when their bodies expire. It tells you in Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter, that basically nobody can resist that discharge, man. When the king summons you back to the spirit world, man. This is not your rest. And even if, and that's why when you leave your jurisdiction, your ward, so to speak. Esau looks at you like, what's this nigga doing here, man? Even Eve, weird ass, will look at you like, what he doing out here? Eve like being up there with her master, her little Nissan Altima, man, with them big eyelashes. But even Eve look at you like, nigga, what you doing here? You know? Like she's not a damn slave. You know Eve was slave. Every picture you see with Eve, this girl got blonde hair. You know? We're all in financial slavery, but Eve's still a spiritual slave, a mental slave, man. But the point is, man, is that Esau built his heaven, and that's why your neighborhood can be run down for 50, 60 years, but this devil can build a small city out of nowhere. He can erect a city overnight, damn near, it seems. Like, damn, Esau. You know? Like, this devil can literally build a kingdom. You know, I'm like, damn, we could barely get our streets paved. You will see houses and cities just deteriorate before your eyes over a period of time. You will see a neighborhood and all Jake move into it, and it's like this neighborhood where Jake moves into, you know, Esau's heaven is Jake's hell, and it's Jake's hell because Jake works in Esau's heaven. You work in these fucking warehouses, man. It's billionaires that own these warehouses, but you ain't even getting paid $20 an hour in some cases, man. You gotta work overtime to work healthy expenses, and you still might have a second job, man, and a third hustle, you know. But with that, I hope you were edified, Akim. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashro Hakodash. Double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone well. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. Abba, Shalom.